Hello there, and welcome to the DIY Photo Organising podcast, focusing on topics to help you with your photo management. I'm Chantal from Photos in Order.
And I'm Fiona from Photo Helper. Hi Chantal, how are you?
Hi there, I'm good.
Wonderful. Well, today we are thrilled to chat with our very special guest, and her name is Lauren Sandford, and she is from the Eternal Second Photography. And we'd love to say a big, huge welcome. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thanks for having
Lauren.
me.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks so much for joining us today. So we are thrilled to be able to have this chat with you. We've invited you along and just wanting to get your insights as a professional photographer. We thought it would be great to be able to share with our lovely listeners some helpful advice and tips and just some learning around how they can take better photos and things that would ultimately have photos that they would want to keep at the end of the day. That's why we are photo organisers, because we love the photos that we have.
And that's the aim of the game, to keep them.
Exactly. Rather than ones which maybe they take, for a quick snapshot, but then they're the ones that we are teaching everyone that they can let go of. But we're going to focus this episode today on the ones that we want to keep.
Sounds good.
So, jumping straight into asking you, first of all, what's your journey with starting out as a photographer? What got you interested in this beautiful world of photography?
Yeah, well, I have an art background, basically. So for as long as I can remember, I was the kid in the corner just drawing and in the art room and painting and all that sort of thing. So my early years was very much drawing portraiture, and I had a lot of I had an interest in drawing portraits to begin with. So
beautiful.
yeah, and it would be literally, I remember going home after school and just getting out like my TV Hits magazine and drawing John Bon Jovi and all these. So a lot of it was obviously drawn from photographs. So yeah, and then as I kept going with that, but then my interests changed and I got more into doing botanical type of drawing and painting. And again, it was all done from photographs. So in the end, I realised I just like the photo. I don't want to spend hours and hours drawing or painting it. So yeah, it was a natural progression. And then definitely when I had my son, my first baby, I just knew I wanted to get into photography. So yeah.
Fantastic. And so can you share with us the name of your business and just a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So it's the Eternal Second Photography, and the name, I suppose, implies what I'm all about, and that is it just takes that second, that split second, and that image is captured forever. So that's just what I want to create for my clients. Just to create those moments in time that once time passes, you can never go back. So whether it's that brand new baby or the toddler or the 6 or 7 or 8-year-old, it's or your great grandfather. It's just about capturing those moments and just keeping them forever. And it's even when we have photographs taken, particularly of our kids, it only takes 2 or 3 years and they've changed so much. So yeah.
That's fantastic.
Beautiful.
So Lauren, what do you see? I mean, like you say, you've just sort of mentioned a few different sort of key things or moments from a professional photographer's point of view, capturing, say, newborns and children growing up or the elderly at different stages. What do you see is the main reason, do you think, that people are taking photos today? Just the quick snapshots and those kind of things? Because a lot of our listeners have thousands and thousands and thousands of
Yes,
photos and they're a little
absolutely.
overwhelmed as to what to do. But what do you see as the main reasons why people are taking photos?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I'm one of those people with thousands and thousands of images.
Yeah.
Um, Look, I think at the end of the day, we all just want to have connection, and whether it's just connection with your best girlfriend out one night, or connection with, somebody's birthday, Mother's Day, whatever, Christmas, whatever it is. I think we just, I think we just want to capture those moments and, yeah, just keep them close.
Yeah,
Mm,
fabulous. That's true. It is.
mm,
And that is the beauty of photos. And I think this is why so many people are looking for help as to what to do and how to manage them because they are precious.
Absolutely. Yeah, for
mm.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So can you see like over time, these days with the phone cameras and most people that's become their main camera. Um, in terms of photography, can you see, not really just the technology change, but also in the just generally the way people take photos or
Mm.
people they what they take photos of. Has that changed over time, do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we are definitely in the last, say, 10, 15 years with the development of phone cameras in our phones,
Mm,
we are, as a society, taking more photographs now ever than what we ever have. Back in the days when it was film, it was expensive to get a roll of film and then get it developed and get your 36 prints done, or whatever. It was more a treat. It wasn't just for those everyday candid moments. So
mm,
yeah, so we're definitely taking more photos, but at the same time, I think we're not where it well in the past we would take photographs and have them printed, whereas now we're taking lots of photographs but we're not necessarily printing. So
mm,
Mm.
I think it sort of comes hand in hand.
mm.
Yeah, I remember those days when you'd get the 24 or the 36 and you'd wait, you'd take it down to the
Yeah,
development and
and
just
they were
it was
nice
so
and
exciting
glossy.
just to see if you actually captured that shot.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I remember when you used to get double prints and
I
Yes.
know.
yeah.
And I think people you used to really plan the shots because you only had
Oh,
36 in the roll or
Yes.
that's
24.
it. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah,
and
for sure.
they were precious, those
Yeah.
each one. So, um, so from your like one of the things I think was great that we were when Chantal and I were talking about having you as our lovely guest as our photographer. um, we'd love to get some ideas from you as to what some technical aspects because people, we're really, really, really passionate about helping people manage, save their photos, not be overwhelmed, start those projects and things like that that they want to
Mhm.
do. And so we'd love to get some tips from you as to what people can be mindful of from your perspective as a photographer when when they know that they're at a birthday party or they're doing the
Yep,
Christmas shots and they've got a
yep.
group, things like that. Can you give us some of your top tips on what people might be, keeping in mind when they're doing those, those memorable shots that it's not just their meal that they're taking, a nice
Yeah, yeah.
photo of, but or maybe it is. I don't know. That could be very important to people too. um, but yeah, just some top tips and things like that that people should be really mindful of so that they really can make the most of what they've got with their phones and or digital cameras.
Yeah, definitely. This is the fun part. This is the part that I love. So,
Good.
yeah. So, one are probably overall, and it sounds a bit cliche, but definitely your point of view. So, angles are important. So, um, little things could be like you don't want to have that shot down low looking up somebody's nostrils. It's just not pleasing. Or if you've got your little cousin or your little baby on the ground, then yeah, don't do it from their feet looking up their face. Do it from above. So definitely point of view is good. So also slightly higher looking down can be a little bit more flattering. So that's
I
a bit
have
of a
heard
tip.
that too.
Yeah,
Yes. Why
yeah,
is that? So that we don't get the double chin or something?
Yes, absolutely. So we tend to look up, and so our chin,
Yes.
it sort of smooths out. So definitely front on can be not so flattering, but slightly elevated looking, like from the camera, slightly up looking down, is a much more flattering sort of accentuates some cheekbones and things like that. Yeah,
fantastic. That's good. Okay.
Another really important thing is in a group shot, often what I see a lot is you've got everybody's head like in the middle of the image. So it's almost like there's all this blank space above their heads. So that's probably one of the most popular things that people do is they put everybody front and center in the middle. But what you want to do is actually shift the focal point, so the people in the image are a bit more balanced around the frame, if that makes sense. So you kind of want to bring it down a bit or bring people's heads a little bit higher in the frame, a little bit more body, and then it's all symmetrical. So symmetry is probably a big thing.
So you're saying keep them in a line still?
Yeah, keep them in a line. No, in a line's fine. Like if we did picture a group shot with say 10 people with all their arms around each other. And so there's a bit of a straight line. So what I'm saying is instead of having their heads like in the middle of the frame.
Right.
And there's a big blank wall above their head. So bring that down a bit so their heads are more to the top of the frame of the image.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's what we call negative space. You don't want too much negative space.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if that makes sense.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like that one.
And one of my most funny ones that I pick up a lot is when you go down to the beach and there's a beautiful sunset and then you've got this wonky horizon line. So my top tip for outdoor landscape type of shots, keep those horizon lines straight, and that will either make or break your photo.
Right.
So that's a good one too.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to straighten it up. It's just to be mindful of it, really.
Yes, a lot of it's awareness of what's happening in your composition. So
Can I jump in, Lauren? Because you had mentioned that before with the horizon lines, and that somehow stuck. And recently we were at the beach, and you were on my mind with. Whenever I took a photo, I was, no, Lauren wouldn't like that.
Yes, that's fantastic.
I was using the, on the phone and also on cameras, you can have the 3x3 grid.
Yes,
so I used that to straighten my beach photo.
Yep. Oh, perfect. Well, that's one person that got that tip. So
it's
good job done for me. Yeah.
All been worth it, Lauren.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So about the phone and digital cameras, what sort of, I mean, is there much difference as far as what you're actually using for these kind of things? Like the benefits of having a phone or a digital camera?
Yeah, most definitely. So the thing that people don't maybe understand is when they get their brand new phone and it's got these flashy photos of it's a 10 megapixel camera and they think that their camera is the best thing in their phone, but like anything, everything is a negative. It's just a digital negative. So that negative in your phone is really, really, really small, and then it's got to jam pack all this information and data into that sensor. And then as we progress to a compact camera and then up to your SLR cameras, that digital negative or a sensor is bigger in size. So that's where you'll have better quality. So yeah, so when people like the sensors in our phone cameras, they're made to be viewed on the phone, and that's why they look fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you try and blow up that image or reprint it, that's where you lose all your quality. So there is a big difference, and yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to get people to sort of understand it, but most definitely you just cannot compare a photo taken with a camera phone and a photo taken with a proper professional camera. It's just chalk and cheese.
Yeah. So, and that's interesting because I know we'd love to do another episode with you about sort of the other side of this, which is the professional photography side.
Absolutely.
Which we will do. But I guess just a question on that. I guess it really is just bringing that point to, and again, an awareness of when you would use, a professional photographer, or you get yourself, an SLR camera or something. If you are going to be using it for other projects that you are looking at, say printing larger or really professional looking, that you've got a limit still with the good quality of phones these days. What you're saying is, it sounds like that there's still definitely limits that maybe people aren't aware of necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the cameras in our phone, they definitely have their purpose, and again, what we'll talk about this at another time. But then there's also the purpose of hiring somebody. So they all have their place in the world, and it's just choosing when that's the right time to use them. Yeah.
So if people are using their phone cameras or whatever they've got, and we're helping them to maybe get some great photos that they like to keep, what kind of apps or different software or programs or something like that would you say you would be some of your go-to that you would maybe suggest people look at?
For sure. There's probably 101 different photo editing apps out there, and it's probably just as easy to go to your app store and just do a search for photo editing. I don't particularly use many myself, but then you can move into, they're good. Again, it's just a quick adjusting, a bit of a filter here or change it to black and white there, and again, it has its place. But if you actually wanted to really look at improving your photographs and using some editing skills on a desktop or computer, you're probably best looking at the Adobe programs. So they include Photoshop, Lightroom. There's also one called Photoshop Elements, and it's just more of a scaled down version of Photoshop. So it's sort of a starting out sort of photo editing. There are some others around. They're not as popular. I think there's one called Corel Draw, which I've used probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say that still exists.
I don't even know. But that was the only one that really came to mind.
The Photoshop stuff is good too.
Yes.
We were just interviewing another lady who was talking about the Elements program. As well, and it really is a great option. I think that Adobe products are fantastic.
They are.
But it is not as full as some of the other, Photoshop type stuff. But it has a huge range. It's got a bit of a mix with sort of Lightroom. It's fantastic.
Oh, okay, and they're constantly updating and changing.
Yes.
So they're pretty good. But also with Photoshop, if you're a student, you can get like a student edition, so it's a little bit cheaper. But that can help as well. Photoshop actually do have their own app as well. So that's probably, if I'm on my iPad, my camera, I can transfer my photographs straight out of camera wirelessly to my tablet. So if I wanted to just do a quick edit, I would use that and use Photoshop, the app version.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's, again, it's more just like the touch of a button, kind of using sort of filters. So it's just a very quick edit. But I would use that if I was just doing personal photographs for myself. I wouldn't use it with, obviously, client work, but that's a good one as well. And anybody could use Photoshop, the app, on their tablet or their phone. It's quite simple to use,
It's not like the full-blown version on desktop.
No, definitely not. No,
I wonder, though, how often and, people actually do edit their photos. I myself hardly ever do that. Pretty much the only reason I do it is when I create photo books. And then, I start cropping or making them a bit lighter or something, or adjust the colours a little bit. I just can't be bothered to edit photos.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's why it helps when you've got a photographer like, Lauren would, with the quality of the camera, that you've got, you probably don't have to, because you've got a richer colour and quality already.
I like that you mentioned the black and white before, like, these easy filters that pretty much every app will have. So I remember we took a family photo last year on a holiday, and it was sort of the last evening and the group shot. But it was in the evening and the lamps out there were red, so we were all red. And then I started to fiddle with the colour adjustment, and I just couldn't get there, and I turned it black and white, and it looked awesome.
Perfect, yes. That is my number one thing. If colours are bad, change it to black and white.
Yeah, that's so good.
And sometimes it just makes the photo just that little bit more striking.
Awesome. Fantastic. So any last minute, so just before we wrap up, I think we would love to just any sort of last minute, maybe some sort of advice on candid shots or things like that people, your advice from your professional point of view that people could maybe be aware of or think about?
Absolutely. I would say just be aware of your surroundings. So if you're, say, for instance, at a family function or a picnic and you want to take just a quick group family shot, just look at what's in the background. So just look out for things that might be a little bit distracting. So the last thing you want is this beautiful photograph of, all the generations of the family, and then there's the tomato sauce bottle sitting in the background, or there's a kid crying, and so just look at what's around you, not just what's in front of you. Just remove those distracting elements, or it could be a stop sign, or I don't know, just if there's something that's really going to stand out in the image. So look at, when you're taking a photo, look at everyone in the photo that you're about to take, and look around them. Look around their heads, look around their bodies, just see what's in the background. And the other thing would probably be, just be aware of your light source. Often people would say, let's take a quick photo, and they go and stand in front of a window because there's nice trees in the background, but that's just, all it's going to do is have everybody very dark, in shadow and underexposed, because the phone will typically correct exposure for the light in the background. So, look at your light. Is there nice light on their faces, or is it quite dark? So, that's another good tip as well.
Fantastic. Chantal, do you have any other questions that you wanted to?
No, I really like these tips. I like to be aware of surroundings and just have a look. Sometimes we tend just to click before we even look properly.
That's right.
That's
we just
really
look at what's in front of us. We don't look at what's around us.
Yeah, and then on the photo you see like trees growing out of people's head and things like that. It's like, oh,
that's another one. Yes, I still need to master that in my own work. You know, I often do all my family sessions outdoors, and you know, for a period there, I would think, oh, that's a nice tree, and yep, that'll look great in the background, and then before you know it, you have a tree growing out of their head. So yeah, it took me, you know, everything's practice. It took me a while to be really aware. No trees out of heads, and it's all learning, it's all practice, and it doesn't matter. You can always take another photo, or you know, the next family gathering, you know, actually I want to get it right this time, or I want to try it again. So just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's really good. And you know, some of those tips are fantastic, because I think if people, you know, that are listening, they're caring about their photos, it's just a real some really good practical things that people can do, and they really do make a difference. And so
they do.
Then when they're going through their photos, which of course everyone is always going through all their new photos they've just taken, but they'll be able to then, you know, really quickly see some of the differences, and they're the keepers. So how do people find you, Lauren, if they were wanting to get some information, or they you know, just sort of what you offer and things like that? Can you just tell us a little bit about the best way and some of the things that you sort of focus on for yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my website is theeternalsecond.com.au. Also just on Facebook and Instagram, The Eternal Second Photography, and just The Eternal Second on Instagram. So that's probably my main way of contact.
That's great. And you do some specials every now and again, I think, too, don't you, for sittings and for newborns and a few things?
Yep. So we often I do like a yearly Christmas type mini session, or Mother's Day, those sorts of things. So there's those sort of main times throughout the year that you can, you know, book in for just a quick mini session. And other than that, just my normal work is photographing beautiful babies and bumps and families and children.
Photos.
I know, they're beautiful. Well worth checking out. We'll put all the links in the show notes, definitely.
Oh, that'd be great.
So people can be in touch. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, it's really lovely. It's just nice, isn't it, Chantal, to just get a perspective. I mean, Chantal and I always, we learn, you know, as we go along. It's the best thing about having wonderful guests on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very
some,
inspiring.
Learning some new things.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I love it when people say, "Oh, I've got a camera or this," and I'm like, "Just get out there, have fun, you know, and just enjoy it."
Yeah, that's good. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much again. And as always, if you'd like to get in contact with us, please just feel free to reach us at any of our social media channels. And I am Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I'm Chantal from Photos in Order. Thanks again for being here, and happy photo organising. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks. Bye.